Jurassic Park. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bomber, neutron blaster, and water zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some Podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
What?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you so much for joining us. It is the end of the year, and gosh, what a year it's been. I can't wait to talk about it. We're going to have some memories. We're going down memory lane tonight.
Memories.
No, that was last year.
Okay.
Memories
What
for last
year
year.
is it?
Nobody knows.
I don't know what year
I
it
don't
is.
want to talk about it.
It's fine. Hey,
Hey.
Jacob Walsh. What's up,
Yeah.
dude?
Hey, not much. Just hanging out. Got off work a little early so we could do some recording and just so we could talk and get this like end of the year wrap up thing over with, so we could
Move on with our
get this year over with. Yeah.
There you go. The year can't end until we say so.
Yeah, to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but I gotta say, I appreciate all of our listeners, everybody who's sticking it to the man by listening to us. I don't know what I'm saying.
Does that stick it to the man?
Yeah, like to the man podcast other than ours.
The man podcast. I know. I appreciate our listeners. I appreciate everybody sticking with us through the year. I appreciate everybody in Yes Have Some Group Therapy, and I very much appreciate everybody who tuned in for the Jeffries this week. If you missed our first ever Jeffries, our toy awards, I'm not going to spoil anything. You can see the whole thing on YouTube. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for everybody for hanging out.
There's
for
already
that.
tons of articles online that kind of recap everything, all the
Yeah,
winners.
you
So
can see all the
just-
winners and all the nominees.
It's pretty easy. I think,
Hey, for a second, I was like, "Oh shit, really?"
yeah, Hollywood Reporter put something up. It's pretty cool. No.
Yeah, and I'm still futzing with the audio here, so sorry. It's been 5 years. I'm gonna figure this out one day. Hey, Jake, how's your week going, man?
Oh, I mean, it's fine. It's just a normal week at the tattoo shop. Nothing new, nothing different. I did get something in the mail today.
All right, I knew you were gonna bring this up, and I think this is gonna lead us down some good discussion. So let's talk about it.
It's going to lead us down a path.
It's gonna lead us down the dark side of the Force.
So something that you've been doing that's been sort of stressing me out is you've gotten pretty big into autographs recently.
Yeah.
And you started like buying all these Star Wars autographs. And then as soon as it started with Natalie Portman.
It always does.
Yeah.
It always does.
Gateway.
You got that Natalie Portman signed book and framed it up and all that. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I want some autographs. Maybe why don't I have Star Wars autographs? So then I started like figuring out if I wanted to do, jump into some Star Wars autographs. And there's only a few that I really would like be on the lookout for, but I don't feel like paying $300
Right.
for a Star Wars autograph.
Right.
So then I was like, oh, you know what I would pay for? Everybody in Jurassic Park's autograph.
Right. Well, I mean, it's been well documented. Well, maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been well documented, but within our friendship, it's been well documented that you have Jacob Walsh has finally gotten over the Last Jedi torment.
Fully healed.
And is fully back on as a Star Wars fanatic.
For sure. Now, I still think Last Jedi sucks, but I love Star Wars so much that I don't care that it sucks.
Jake is in acceptance mode.
Yes.
He's
There's
accepting
these
it.
stages of grief. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good place.
The Ryan Johnson Guide to Grieving. That's what it's called.
To grief Karga.
To grief Karga. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk Jurassic Park autographs. What's the deal? Fill me in. Because as much as I'm into Star Wars autographs right now, now that you're getting into like Jurassic Park stuff, I feel like, well, I need to do that too. So you're my guide, basically, is what I'm saying.
I'm your Jurassic Park guide, and you're my Star Wars guide.
You're my tour guide.
That's cool.
You have on a pink polo shirt and khaki shorts, and you're taking me through the park.
Okay.
He's got the car.
Yeah. So what's the deal? I know it's been a big week.
Well, I just started. I got on eBay and I started like, I've needed your help a lot because I before the last few weeks I didn't really know about buying autographs online, about what's what companies are legit and what isn't. So after kind of figuring that out, I kind of abandoned the Star Wars thing and I started looking at Jurassic Park stuff. And the first thing I bought was actually pretty easy to pick up because Ariana Richards sells autographed 8x10s like straight from her store.
And that's Lex, for those who don't know. Lex.
Yes. So I
She
found
prefers
her,
to be called a hacker.
Yeah,
So.
that.
Exactly. So I picked that up immediately, and then I was like, well, let me go look for Tim. And it was actually pretty hard to find any autographs from that dude. So I was like, I'll put that aside. Let me look at the I already have the poster signed with Goldblum. So I was like, let me look at Sam Neill and Laura Dern. And like surprisingly, there's some Laura Dern autographs out there, and they weren't too bad. And then I found a couple, that were certified Beckett autographs, which I have learned recently is basically if it's a Beckett, you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, Beckett's the top of the line for sure.
Yeah, so I ordered one. I ordered a Laura Dern. I looked at some Sam Neill's, but my problem is that I ordered the Laura Dern and then realized it's an 11x14, not an 8x10.
Ooh, okay.
So now I'm like, well, I want to get a Sam Neill that's the same size, and I've only found one 11x14 Sam Neill, but it's horizontal instead of vertical like the Laura Dern is. So I think it might be a little while before I can.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
between the two of them, if you were going to
together.
get horizontal, I'd pick Laura Dern.
Exactly.
Put that out there.
Right.
But that's the thing about autographs is like you want them to all fit and look nice together and be like cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to go for like a full wall display?
I think I am at this point. Like I didn't, that's usually not my thing. And like signed 8x10s is I've kind of like gotten away from that. But I feel like with Jurassic Park, that's a really cool thing to do. And it's going to be easier to get their autographs that way. Then, there's not going to be a Jurassic Park fan fest where I can just bring one poster and get one thing signed by everybody. That would be, preferred, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just get everybody's autograph. And I was looking, and there's some Richard Attenborough autographs out there. I've tried to look for a couple of the others. Like I looked for Wayne Knight, and he's got a lot of autographs, but they're all Seinfeld. So
right now
I'm gonna have to do some digging. It's gonna take some time, but I'm gonna try to jump into it.
There's a
Alan Grant. You're gonna do some digging.
Yes. There's a couple companies have been doing private signings lately, and I know Wayne Knight did one recently, and they might have some overstock inventory, which they usually get extras to sell. So we'll have to do some research and see if they have any. Jurassic Park.
Find out and send me that. Yeah,
send me that. Give me that Wayne Knight. Yeah, so it's weird. Like obviously, we're all collectors of various things, toys. Clearly, clearly we like toys. But we've always liked autographs, and it's always been my preference to obtain autographs like in person at a convention.
Yeah.
But the fact is, a lot of these people, don't do conventions. Like Laura Dern she's not going to show up at like Dragon Con,
Right.
Well, maybe in like 20 years.
Yeah.
But
I wish. She'd probably have fun.
Yeah, she'd probably have a good time. But somebody like Laura Dern, I mean, it was cool that Jeff Goldblum started doing a few conventions because that was something you wouldn't have thought you would have been able to like meet Jeff Goldblum, and that was down at like MegaCon or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, as far as the Star Wars stuff goes, yeah, I mean, I blame Tom Henry and Matt Sanders, who run the Ghostbusters containment unit, the autograph group, because we started doing some work with them this year and doing some interviews and kind of partnering up on some stuff, and they're enthusiastic and obsessed with autographs the way we are. about like action figures.
It's contagious.
It's so contagious. And obviously like Star Wars is bigger and back and better than ever. So I've definitely kind of like dove in to getting more Star Wars autographs, and like the thing, Jake, we've talked a lot about it. Like a lot of these actors are getting older, and unfortunately that means some of them are, passing away. David Prowse passed away, Jeremy Bulloch. And then some people like Mark Hamill, that's been a very, that's a tough autograph to get these days. It used to not be so tough, but he hasn't really signed in the last couple of years.
It's a time sensitive thing.
Yeah. So, but I guess we got to talk about the elephant in the room, which was the autograph I pulled this week
when Craig was summoning demons from the other realm in our room.
Jake, so I'm assuming if you listen to Yes Have Some, you maybe saw this video. I posted it in group therapy. It's still there, but I've been opening these Topps Masterworks.
You're like, maybe you saw this video. You sent it to everyone you know.
No, that's not true. I sent it to a couple people, not my parents, because I don't want to have to explain myself. But Topps Masterworks, it's a premium trading card product. Topps puts out various Star Wars sets throughout the year, but this is the top of the line, or one of their top of the line things. 2 autographs per box. I had gotten a couple boxes for Christmas. Did okay. Nothing to scream home about. Couple cool autographs. I think the best one I got was Naomi Ackie, who played Janna in Rise of Skywalker. And God, who knows if we'll ever see that character again at this point. But some cool stuff. But obviously, you're going for those big names. Like you want Daisy Ridley or Adam Driver, or like the holy grail of holy grail in these sets is Harrison Ford. So, spoiler alert: I pulled a 1 of 5 Han Solo, Harrison Ford, silver framed autograph, and there is video of it. Where Jake, I want you're my best friend. We've been friends for 6-7 years at this point. I want you to break down what watching, because Abby was there, kind of experiencing it.
Yeah, we can break
in
down our side of where we were.
Well, all right, Abby, let me go to you first, and then I'll go to Jake. So, Abby, what was your experience?
My experience, I was cozied up in bed. I had my Switch out. I think I had Return of the Jedi on. I was home, and you brought a pack home. You had been out, and you were shopping, and you were like, hey, I want to do this, but it's just for me. Let's not film it. And I encouraged you to film it.
Yeah, because we've been doing a lot of content lately. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. My hair is clearly disheveled in the video.
Yeah, it was
I wasn't camera ready.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, you basically opened the pack, and upon realizing that the first card you saw, the Grief Cargo, was a 1 of 1. That was a big deal. And then when you saw the metal card, it was like, okay, now get your camera out. Let's film this.
Yes.
No matter what, it's going to be
Get
a
out
pull.
your video camera.
Get out
is what
the
I said.
video camera. So yeah, I filmed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a planned thing. And we were like in our bedroom.
But I definitely like, Jake, I want to hear your thoughts, because like I feel like I don't know what happened to me, because I don't remember it. I blacked out. But what did you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, when you posted that video, like I figured there was something up, because the way you guys worded it when you posted it in the chat, I was like, okay, well, there's gonna be something cool here. Didn't think it would be Han Solo. But what's funny is like you kind of zoom in on the card, and you're like slow revealing it, and you can see that it says Han Solo right away, but it's upside down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I realized what it was before you did.
Right.
But once you realize what it is, I think I described this to you the other day, but it's like I've watched it multiple times, because it's like, it's exciting and it's cool to see, your friends be excited about something like that, and it's fucking Han Solo. But also, it's like a rare thing that most people are never going to see, and you completely like lose control of everything. And it's like
Dreyfus.
Your face contorts in a way that looks like, I don't know,
Heyman?
dude. It's like you look insane. You look like that card was, the Deadlights or something. And you looked into it and just completely lost your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, it's exciting, but it's also kind of terrifying watching you scream, "Oh my fucking God," at that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I
remember Jake saying that he was like, I'm not sure I want to come and sleep at Craig's house anymore after seeing that.
You never know what can happen. I can murder you. I've collected cards off and on throughout my whole life, and the dream is to always hit something like that. It's like when you buy a scratch off lottery ticket, you have that what if I won $1 million? But I don't know. I think that here's the thing. The card's worth a lot of money. I've had multiple people offer me multiple thousands of dollars for it, but I'm not going to sell it because that moment, like I wanted a Harrison Ford autograph. To get a Harrison Ford 8x10 is a minimum $800-900 and up. But to hit a card with that rare value and to have that experience, like I'm never going to forget that. Like that's the one. By what, next week I'm like, well, it's sold, and bought a new Proton pack. No. It's So it was incredible. I'm glad I could share that with everybody. And yes, when I watch it, I remember it because I've seen the video, but I don't have it actually in my memory of the moment. Like, because I definitely was like I blacked out.
Yeah, you black out for sure.
Now, one thing,
something else takes control of you.
Yes,
something takes a part of you. And then I started doing like a wrestling chain of holy shit.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I posted it in multiple like trading card like message boards and Facebook groups, and the internet. I don't know if you guys knew that can be pretty cynical at times. I have not had one negative every comment has been like, that would have been me. I understand. Now, one person, and I want to talk about this with both of you. One person said, it was a comment on a message board, said, well, I could have gone without the language. But
God, okay, Karen.
And here's something I've come up with. Anybody in life
now, was that my dad?
Listen, this is a true statement. This is my parting wisdom of 2020 going into next year. Anybody in life who takes offense to swears and cusses and bad words, don't trust them as
They're
human
doing
beings.
much. Don't look at their
don't
hard
trust
drive.
them as human beings.
Exactly.
I know you're all out there.
They're hiding much worse.
It has to be.
Yeah, I don't get it. Swear words are just words.
Just words.
They're just made up words.
The simple pleasures
the
in
fuck
life.
out, people.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's funny is that the Abby's phone literally died and it cuts me off. So somebody asked me if like I like put a hole in the wall as soon as I like, because it is kind of scary when you watch it.
I fainted.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool moment.
The ending is very Blair Witch.
Yeah.
You're like, what happened next?
I was in the corner.
Oh my God. Your imagination filled.
But like, listen, as a collector, as a Star Wars, as a card fan, and as a Star Wars fan, and obviously as a Harrison Ford fan and an autograph collector and all those things, that's kind of like one of those moments, one of the holy shit moments you live for. So thank you everybody for letting me, it makes up for Cal Kestis is what I'm saying. 3 weeks ago, I was ready to start the Cal Kestis fan club. By the way, Jake, I don't know if I told you this. I was going to lean into it really hard. I bought a Cal Kestis. I went to Kohl's.com and bought a Cal Kestis t-shirt.
Wow.
Because, I got the autograph. Now I got the shirt. I think at some point I should probably get the game.
Yeah. Just sit on the shelf while you don't play it.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was watching, I was at my mom's over the weekend and they were watching that show, Shameless. Have you ever seen that?
Is that William H. Macy?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I had never seen it before, but my mom watches it and she was like, deep into like season, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something. And so we watched a couple episodes and it's got that guy who plays Cal Estes in it.
Okay.
And I was getting annoyed. I was just getting annoyed about the situation watching the show.
Jake, you told another funny story on Twitter. Well, you tweeted this about watching Mandalorian.
Oh God,
with your mom and a comment that she made.
So my mom and her husband, was like, he asked me about Mandalorian, asked if I'd seen it, and I was like, yeah, I've seen it, and he was telling me that he really wanted to watch it, but they didn't have a way, so I set them up with my Disney Plus password, and we had nothing to do, so we watched it, and we watched the entire first season, and then we watched season 2 all the way up to the Ahsoka episode, which means there's only 3 episodes left.
Right. So basically 80%, 85% of the
Whole
show.
thing. Yeah. We're halfway through the Ahsoka episode. Or it might have been after the episode, but my mom, like, you know, she's not super, she sat there and watched it all, but you know, she's also like kind of on her computer. She's not like a Star Wars person.
Right.
Just being mom.
I took her to see Force Awakens. Because I saw Force Awakens like 7 times.
Right.
And I took my mom to see it, and I don't think she has seen much Star Wars like since Force Awakens, and you know, she probably has not seen the prequels. She saw the originals whenever they came out. So she's not a big Star Wars person, but we're sitting there and we're talking, we have just watched a season and a half of this. And my mom like goes, "Oh, I thought the guys in white were the good guys."
Dude, she's like a secret Empire fan. Like,
but I was like confused for a second, and it like took me a minute, and I was like, "The Stormtroopers? How can anybody ever think, unless you have only seen the prequels?" Because the clone troopers are, you know, the good guys in the first 2 like,
yeah.
Unless that's all you've seen, how does anybody think the Stormtroopers are the good guys?
Your mom watches Nightmare on Elm Street, and she's like, "Why are they burning that nice man?"
I don't understand. It made me feel defeated, and I was like, okay, cool.
Oh my God. She gets to the end of Inglourious Bastards, like, "Why are they killing that man with the mustache? Was he bad?" That's, you know what? That's my mom says crazy shit like that. Like, Abby, your mom says crazy shit.
Yeah, mom stuff. Didn't your grandma have like a line about what's his name in Home Alone, like saying, "It's good to see you."
Oh yeah, my grandmother. We were talking about Joe Pesci once, and she was like, I loved that he was in Home Alone. It was so nice to see him play that character as opposed to how mean he was in Goodfellas and Casino. I was like, Grandma,
he's trying to murder a child.
He's robbing a child's home on
He's a
Christmas
burglar.
Eve. But we're Jewish, so she's probably like, I don't care. I don't care about Christmas. Yeah, moms and grandmas.
It was their decision to go.
Moms become grandmas, and they stay weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, good times, man. Love cards, love autographs, love Mandalorian. What we're gonna do for this end of year wrap up here, we're gonna do a little recap. Abby's put together some fun categories for us to kind of, we kind of freestyle on what has been an interesting year, ups and downs, obviously very tough for a lot of people, and a lot of people basically sitting at home trying to like figure out how to like fill the time.
Yeah, it's not like we can do a review of our like favorite new movies that came out.
Yeah, top 5 movies of the year. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Birds of
Invisible
Prey.
Man.
Stop it.
How did DC manage to put out a bunch of movies this year?
Right.
Yeah. I can't believe
It's because they don't care about their quality.
Truth.
Got
Truth. Yeah, and like I think this will be good. It'll be a good way to kind of put a bow on this year. And obviously 2021, we got some stuff to look forward to this year. We got a lot of big movies coming aloud. That's how
Coming out loud.
Coming out loud.
Coming
Unfortunately.
out of their shells.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And before we get started though, I do want to remind everybody one more time. I said at the beginning of the episode, go to YouTube, watch the Jeffries, watch the award show, watch Jake steal the show. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
But it happened twice.
Yeah.
And
he wins his own
I
Jeffrey.
felt like I had to overperform because of the small amount that I could actually contribute. So
Daniel Day-Lewis it. Like, you got it.
And I was like, well, if I can only be in it twice for a short period of time, I better fucking
They will remember me.
Hey, this is not on the wrap up, but I will ask Jake, did you agree that Toka and Razar are the figures of the year and that NECA is toy line of the year? Did you agree with those?
I voted for Toka and Razar. Even though, is it like, should I have been voting even though it's like I'm kind of on the board? I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We made it up. I saw Jake Stevens, who's from Forlom to Zuckus. He helped us out with some Midnight Mando stuff this year, and he's got some toy podcasts, and he posted on his he posted the categories, the nominees on his Instagram, and somebody was like, "Who picked these?" And I was like, "Me." It's our thing. We made it up.
We
it's
do
all made up.
we want.
Yeah.
Listen, I almost voted for the coming out of their shells, the mutant,
Musical
Gin
mutagen.
Tour.
Yeah.
The only thing that kept me from giving those figures my vote over Toka and Razar is that, because of the rights issue or whatever, they couldn't use coming out of their shells. So those figures are not 100% accurate. You know what I mean? There's like the back has that mutagen tour on it. And just that small, they're still like, they're probably my favorite figures of the year. But just because Toka and Razar have like basically 100% accuracy and they're so big and they look so cool, like it edged them out to me.
Well, and the other thing is like you could make a top 5 figures of the year and just be like Toka and Razar.
It's like
Casey Jones and Raph, Super Shredder, like it's all NECA. So, but thanks again to Trevor from NECA, Trevor Zamet, who's the brand manager for TMNT, for stopping by and accepting his award.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Let's get on to this bonus episode wrap up. This is not a bonus episode. This is a regular episode, but I'm just reading the I'm like, what's that guy?
I think it was originally intended to be a bonus.
What's that guy? Anchorman. I just read what's on the sheet without
that guy, Will Ferrell.
Yeah, that man.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna go through our favorite television shows, new and old, that basically got us through quarantine.
New to us, whatever was new
well,
to
I mean,
our
listen.
intake.
I mean,
mine is not new to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
some of
okay.
these are gonna
I
be.
did not watch 5 new shows in 2020.
I don't think I did either.
Okay.
But
You know what?
It
I have some stuff that I was rewatching on mine too.
It said new and old, so I didn't realize it was supposed to be all new to me.
I didn't watch 5 new shows. I don't know if I watched 1 new show this year. Oh wait, Seinfeld's new, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jake, why don't you start us off? What is some of the television that
do you want me to just go through all 5 and then we can
discuss?
Should I just list all 5 and then we'll talk about any of them? Whatever.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
It's free form.
So my number 1 was new to me, and I put this as number 1 because it's a lot of episodes and it was really great, and I had a big long time watching it. But I watched Dawson's Creek over quarantine.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Number 2, Seinfeld, and I put Seinfeld as number 2 because I watch it constantly, and especially this last year, it's just on constantly. Number 3 is a show that I found. It's a UK show called Portrait Artist of the Year. And it's just this it's just a show where people have 4 hours to paint portraits. And it's very, very interesting to watch, especially from somebody who likes to paint. So number 4 is Star Trek, because kind of like Seinfeld, I have watched tons of The Next Generation over the last year, over and over and over. Number 5, I put this last because it's a show that it's probably on everybody's list. It kind of took over the world for a couple weeks at the right time. It left like a weird taste, I think, in everybody's mouth, and it was very entertaining. You know what I'm going to say is Tiger King.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
Yeah.
Totally spaced on Tiger King. I didn't put that on my list.
Yeah, I mean, that was well, let's talk about some of the stuff. So, I mean, Dawson's Creek is. I watched the first couple seasons when it was out,
Same.
like originally. I never have gone back to take it all in, but like I think as far as like teen dramas go, like I mean, written by Kevin Williamson, obviously who did Scream and others. Like,
and it's very clear that it's the guy who wrote Scream, and it feels like it could take. It's like the exact same writing. Like it feels like it takes place in the same universe.
The same universe, yeah.
Like snappy ass, quippy dialogue.
Yeah.
Like a lot of movie references and talking about directors. And
Now I can't remember. Am I supposed to hate any of the characters? Is there like one of the characters that like the fan base doesn't like?
Yeah, Dawson.
I would never.
They should have just called that show Creek.
I liked Pacey.
There's a lot of people. You kind of you'll go back and forth with a lot of the characters. You know, it's one of those things where like you're gonna love most of them, but like there are a lot of times where you do hate Dawson because he's just acting like a jerk, or you know, that's just the kind of show it is. It's like there's also a lot of one thing I wasn't prepared for is that Dawson's Creek is really heavy. There's a lot of like really, really emotional things in that show. And there's some heavy hitting things, especially like in the end. It's got kind of a dark turn to some of it, but it's great.
You know, the most disappointing thing is that the Netflix doesn't have the Netflix. That's what I call it. They don't have the rights to the correct.
Neither did I. Watched it on Hulu, and it's not that Netflix doesn't have the rights. It's that they don't have the rights.
They don't have the rights to the
on Hulu. It's not that song either. It's a completely different song, and I mean that was my first time watching it. So like that's how I know Dawson's Creek, and I feel like so. I watched the entire show with the other song, but the finale still had the Sarah McLachlan.
Okay.
So when I got to that, it's just one episode, but I was like, I don't like this because I've watched the entire show with this song.
God.
It's like
it's like when I like the updated version in Jabba's Palace of the Cy Snoodle song.
Yeah.
And versus like the original.
Yeah.
Lop-T, whatever.
Okay. So cool. So Dawson's Creek, that portrait show. I bet we all have shows that are like just personal to us. Like that kind of sounds cool. Like,
I mean, it's a cool show. It's just like they sit around. It's like, you know, it's like 45-minute episodes. They get like 9 people, and they have to paint celebrities.
Okay.
They have 4 hours to do it. They pick a winner at the end of the episode. At the end of the season, all the winners face each other, and they pick like a winner who gets like a big job, like a big painting job, and they have to paint somebody who's either, you know, historically famous or just a famous artist or actor or something like that for like a portrait gallery, you know. And it's a cool show, man, especially like, you know, you get to watch people make these crazy portraits in 4 hours, and it's insane. And like at the beginning of quarantine, I spent a lot of time, you know, working on trying to be better at that kind of stuff. So having that show to watch was cool.
Yeah, I mean, you've had Jake has had awesome paintings this year. I would suggest everybody follow his Instagram. That Cujo still gets me. Like that is a good painting.
Mm-hmm.
Like little put himself. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's not good. I'm like,
it's great.
Is it Beethoven? Is it Cujo? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It could be either.
And I like those kind of shows too, where you see really talented people working their craft in a timed space, like Top Chef or whatever kind of does it for me.
Well, Abby, let's hear some of your show. We'll kind of make it a big mixture. I mean,
Roundtable, yeah.
Tiger King, it is what it is. Like we did a whole episode on it. I would suggest anybody, you know.
I feel like the world like unloaded everything they needed to say about Tiger King in that short span of time, and we're just done.
For sure.
I have nothing left to give to Tiger King.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
I felt bad putting it on my list, but I felt like it was just it was kind of a big time.
It was a big thing. It
was
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see what history thinks of Tiger King. Or if anybody will remember it.
I think it'll be like, it'll define the beginning of quarantine for people when it was like, oh, we all are watching something. It's not live. It's on Netflix, but it's all we can talk about because there's nothing else going on in the world, like sports wise or entertainment wise.
I mean, here's the other thing is by the time Halloween rolled around and everybody was debuting their Tiger King costumes, it was like, guys, it's over. We know you thought this was going to be great back in April, but
Zombie Sailor.
It's done. We love Zombie.
We love
Zombie Sailor.
We love Zombie.
But someone should tell him it's over. It's done. You know what? Zombie could do whatever he wants, honestly.
I agree.
Abby, what are some of your shows? I'm assuming Seinfeld's on all of our lists, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually not on mine, but I'll go from 5 to 1. I mean, Seinfeld's it's like an ever-present.
Jake, did I miss one of yours? What was the other one?
That was
Star Trek. Star Trek. Yeah.
That's cool. What's cool is I also have Star Trek: The Next Generation in spot 4 on my list. It's tied with something else, but I'm going to start with number 5 and then work my way down.
Okay.
So for me, I said number 5 was a show that I look forward to every weekend when it's on because it brings a sense of normalcy, and it's not always good, but it always has a couple bright moments, and that's SNL. And again, it's like it was reflective of quarantine, especially like when they couldn't film in studio and it was from home, and it wasn't that good, but at least it was something to watch. And that gave me some hope and like a good feeling again of like things are at least. It's the most normal thing to do is to watch SNL and be like, this is not funny or whatever with your friends.
There's nothing better than criticizing SNL.
Yeah, it
makes me feel
normal. But there were some funny episodes, and Dua Lipa performed at the end of the season this year, and I really enjoyed it. And I just that show's got to be in my top 5 for shows that got me through quarantine.
Okay.
Number 4, I put Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's just always been on. I ordered a big, I think it's not the first season, but it's a big collection of VHS tapes, and I've watched those all like 2 or 3 times over again in my room. So yeah, Next Gen, it's very calming for me. The other show I put at number 4 is Ozark, which is just a great show on Netflix with Jason Bateman. Some of it was filmed at the restaurant that I have that I work at, so there's like a weird tie crossover for me.
Yeah, Ozark's good. Like Ozark is like it's kind of like you can make an argument that it's like the second rate version of like Sopranos or Breaking Bad because it's kind of the same thing, but
Yeah.
it is. But Jason, like
It's reminiscent
he's the
of
best.
that formula. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think I love Marty. What's her name? Ruth.
Yeah,
Ruth
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
That was a show I watched at the beginning of quarantine. I don't need to dwell too much on it because I actually have the show that it's based on at my number 1 spot, which I'll get to. Number 3, I have She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is the animated series on Netflix. I've talked about that show. It's awesome. I know a lot of group therapy members are also in on it. I've collected the toys, which there's some cool San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that I got. Yeah, during the eBay hangs, I was really like buying up Princesses of Power stuff. And She-Ra is awesome and inspirational and a really great role model for everyone, young and old. And number 2, I've got The Mandalorian.
What do you got? 6? You got 6 shows on your.
You know
thing?
what, Jake? I tied Ozark with TNG, so
I see,
technically,
I
yeah,
see.
it's me, and I made
All
this,
right.
so I get to put as many as I want.
I
down.
was just confused. I was like, can I count? What's happening?
Jake's like, can I add another one? Yeah, 2, Mandalorian. We have an entire wet like series on YouTube dedicated to it, so I don't need to go into it. But that show plus our Midnight Mando show has gotten me through quarantine. Hanging out with friends and like talking about a show is like really good connectivity between people, and I love it. And it's a fabulous show, and I love Pedro Pascal, and I love the child. I love Grogu, everything. All right, number 1. May as well do it. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know this one because I put it in my stories. I watched The Sopranos, and I started watching with Greg over quarantine. And we're in season 5 now. It's such a fucking awesome, badass show that it's one of those that I avoided because people were always like, well, you got to watch this. It's like Goodfellas or Godfather. Like, I didn't really have an interest in mob or mafia related stuff. However, watching it, it's like it's set in that late 90s period. So it brings back, I was kind of like the same age as Meadow and like AJ on that show, which are the Soprano kids. So like it really brings back that age and that time of being like in junior high school and like just the big pants and the ball necklaces.
Well, I relate mostly to AJ on that show because like AJ
He just wants to play video games
Dude,
and order a pizza.
that kid, he's like wearing like Slipknot shirts and like just like I don't know, Pantera and like Korn. And he just looks like everybody did, every 8th grader.
Yeah,
in 1998.
Yeah, there's a nostalgia factor, but then it's also like a brilliant show that like therapy is obviously one of the main themes because Tony's in therapy, and I love the actress who plays the therapist, Melfi, and like it's just been a really exciting watch for me. It's kind of got some like you were
Can
saying.
we watch it right now?
Yeah, with Dawson's Creek, it's got like heavy episodes that will kind of upsetting stuff, but the way they handle things is really realistic, and it's got that like Quentin Tarantino like type of like just violence out of nowhere, unexpected twists and turns, putting people in the back of in the trunk, and like I love that kind of shit. It's very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good
Thanks.
stuff. I could talk about some of the shows that got me through this year. Obviously, Sopranos. We're in the middle of it, so that will continue into 2021. Okay, so let's talk about Mandalorian. You know, I'm sure it's on everybody's list, especially if you're listening to Yes Have Some. But
I didn't have it on my list.
Well, besides
I didn't have it on my list, but let me tell you why I didn't have it on my list. Because like Star Wars, usually anytime I do like my favorite movies or whatever, I always feel like Star Wars is above it's like
its own thing.
List.
Yes,
I can't put Mandalorian on the list because it's clearly
It's too
the
good.
number one.
yeah, it's
show.
clearly the best thing that's happening. So, but I'll talk. I mean, it really was. I loved season 1, but season 2 was just another level of storytelling and introducing, you know, new and old characters and bringing in Ahsoka and you know, well, listen, we all know everything that happened. And it was really fun to have something awesome to look forward to every Friday for 2 months. And just knowing like, you're going to watch it and then you're going to rewatch it and then you're going to go on a bunch of websites and pick up on Easter eggs that maybe you missed out on. And then all of the discourse between us and our friends. It was great. It was really
Ongoing,
special.
yeah.
It was awesome. And then, kind of that culmination of that finale that just kind of like blew us all out of the water. And Mark Hamill tweeted today, I should read this tweet, because he kind of stayed silent for a couple of weeks, but he said, that there's all these reaction videos of fans reacting to the return of Luke Skywalker. And Mark Hamill said, #no words. Seeing fans' reactions to Luke's return is something I will cherish forever. Their anticipation seeing the X-Wing, the Episode 6 robes, a lightsaber, a green lightsaber, a gloved hand, an ungloved hand, a force choke, R2 was overwhelming and very moving to me. So like just knowing like, Star Wars has been there's been controversy and weirdness for the last couple of years, and Disney and the sequel trilogy and everything else. But just to have something that universally everybody was in on and excited about and positive about was great, especially this year where there's some challenges for the world this year. I don't know if you've heard. Target exclusives, things like that.
Fairness.
I bet TJ hated it.
You know what? He probably did.
I just want to put that out.
You just wanted to put that out there. Okay. So, Masters of the Universe, the original animated series, I got really into the Masters of the Universe toy lines this year, and having just like any of the toy lines I collect, I always like the toys more than the show. Like, let's face it, I like the Real Ghostbusters toys more than I enjoy sitting down and watching old episodes of Real Ghost. I love the Real Ghostbusters, but the toys are more meaningful to me. So, but yeah, having that as kind of a companion piece and kind of like learning about that world. It's something I would watch late at night and fall asleep to, but it's just so silly and of its time and kind of fun to kind of learn about the lore of Masters. So that was really cool. Ozark, we talked about, that was a big deal for us this year. Shark Tank. You guys know I love Shark Tank.
Forever a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always like when there's a new episode of Shark Tank on the DVR, I literally feel like I could do anything. Yeah. But possibilities are endless. And I'm trying to think, like, I didn't, and then Seinfeld, it's just it's medicinal. It has the same effect as Price is Right did on me as a kid. Like, no matter what kind of mood I'm in, no matter what time of day, I can put on Seinfeld and just feel good. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking about this for this episode. I think I've come to this conclusion, Jake and Abigail.
Okay.
The greatest scene in Seinfeld history,
oh boy,
is the scene in the Marble Rye episode where George and his parents are eating dinner with Susan and her parents, and their parents are all meeting each other for the first time. Mm-hmm. This scene is incredible. So first of all, you have the speech that Jerry Stiller makes where they're eating the he asks what they're eating, and it's like a Cornish game hen. A Cornish game hen. Yeah. And he makes like the hands like he's holding a rifle, and he goes, "You mean you shoot it?" And it's really funny. But then he does this thing, and he's like, "Let me get this straight. You've got the rooster, you've got the hen, and you've got the chicken. The rooster's having sex with the chicken. Who's having sex with the hen?" And then the whole thing, the way it unfolds, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that happens in that scene. But George is my favorite character. The
rooster has sex with all of them.
Yeah, he goes, "That's pervice." There's all these things happening,
and then it's the first spoiler alert thing to ever happen.
It's the first, yeah. So they're talking about Firestorm, that new picture that came out, and Susan's dad goes, "Oh, the part with the helicopter," and Frank starts freaking out. He goes, no, I want to go in fresh. Like it's so within like this 5-minute scene, and George is my favorite character in Seinfeld. And I think his parents are incredible. I think that, and also it's come out in the last couple of years. I don't know if you guys knew this. Jason Alexander has spoken publicly about how hard the actress who played Susan, how hard she was to work with, how she just wasn't a great actor, and she was really hard to get chemistry with.
I remember reading a thing about how it was even further than that. Like they kind of weren't getting along with her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that had a little bit of something to do with why they decided to just kill her off.
off. But that almost adds it adds to like the tension. But so my two favorite lines, and we'll move on to the next category from that episode are first when George's mom, somebody says, "Oh, the Merlot is great."
Merlot? I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Did they just invent it?
Yeah, did they just invent it, Merlot? No, they didn't just invent it. So there's that, and then when they take the bread back, she said, "Well, what kind of people would steal the bread back?" Those kind of people. That's
they
who.
like secretly take the bread.
Yeah. Because when they're driving back in the car,
sitting there like idiots without any cake.
Yeah. Who puts coffee without cake? But listen, I love Seinfeld, and that's just one of my favorite moments that might be my favorite episode, because you got to remember that episode also has Kramer on Rusty the horse. It also has Kramer buying all of the surplus food from like the Sam's Club or whatever. And then it has Elaine dating the saxophone player.
Hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a great episode.
I love it. It's great. And Kramer's loading the car.
We should just do episodes of YHS now where we recap Seinfeld
just
episodes.
the Seinfeld
I love it.
show.
But really, it brings happiness to me.
Yeah,
is
no,
what I'm
I
saying.
completely agree.
Anyways, yeah, that's my TV. Let's talk about some movies this year as we move along here. So obviously, not a lot of new movies. I mean, I think I saw maybe 4 movies this year. New movies. I saw Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84,
Invisible Man,
Tenet,
Damn it.
and then what was the Andy Samberg one?
Jake, don't
Bill
worry
and
about
Ted.
it.
Bill and Ted, and then the Andy Samberg one on Hulu, which I actually like that one, the Groundhog Day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not a lot.
Been out there this year,
Jake, what do you got on your list for movies that got you through this year?
I write down every movie I see every year for the last couple of years. I have a list. As long as it's new to me. It doesn't have to be a movie that came out this year.
Okay.
Movie that I've seen for the first time. I got 5 movies on this list here, but I'm telling you, like maybe 2 or 3 out of those 5 are movies that are like, they're fine, but they were just some of my, they might have been my favorite of the year, but it's been such a fucking slow year. So number 5, I put Cape Fear. Saw that for the first time.
Awesome.
And I've always thought Robert De Niro was overrated. Maybe I still do. I don't think he's the great. Like, I haven't seen him, tons of Robert De Niro stuff. But anytime I've seen anything, I've just been like, all right, whatever. What's the big deal? He's amazing in Cape Fear. Cape Fear is great. Number 4 is this old horror movie I saw called Brain Damage, and it's about this guy who it's like a ripoff of like Little Shop of Horrors, basically, and it's about this guy who he gets this kind of like brain slug.
Okay.
But it like talks to him.
Okay.
Like
That's kind of
it talks to him in a very like silly voice, and it's like, let's go over here and kill this person. It's like a ripoff a little. It's silly. Number 3, Borat 2.
Oh yeah, Borat. Yeah.
I didn't even think.
Number 2 is this movie that ended up on Netflix this year. I don't know. It's not an old movie. I don't know how new it is, but it is a foreign film called Inhuman Kiss about these sort of like a love triangle of these teenagers, but the girl ends up becoming like a host for like a demon, like a traditional Japanese demon, and it's just this like weird movie where they're having to like navigate keeping that a secret because there are people like out to destroy these creatures. And she's like a human most of the time, but she just happens to like her head just happens to detach and kill people at night. So,
Ooh, what's this called again?
But it was very, very good. It's called Inhuman Kiss.
Put it on my list now.
Okay, so my number 1 is this movie called Dark Age.
Okay.
This movie I had known about for a while but had not seen, and it came out in 1987. It is an Australian movie about an alligator, like a giant crocodile. And it stars the main dude is John Jarrett, he's in those horror movies called Wolf Creek. He's kind of like a character actor. He was one of the Australians in Django Unchained.
Okay.
When there's like three Australian dudes.
Okay.
He's one of those guys. But the movie, I've always heard that it's like one of those classic monster films about giant, animals going crazy. But when I watched it, the thing that was great about it is it's not very silly. It is kind of rough, and it's got some like pretty heavy. It's like the first half of the movie is very Jaws. There's like giant crocodile, and it's eating people and kids that are close to the area. But like the thing that I love about it is like halfway through, they decide like, oh, we can't kill this thing. They're like, we got to save it. It's like, it's a big animal. It's like one of a kind. Let's just move it. Let's relocate it. And it ends up becoming about like the main characters are kind of like end up protecting this thing from some other people who are like poachers and shit like that. And they're just like,
that's
no,
kind of cool.
And it's really cool. It's also one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies. And he owns like one of the only print copies of it. And even though the movie is an Australian film, it didn't get a release in Australia. And Quentin Tarantino was like, fuck that. It needs to be seen by, the people who made this movie. And he like had a special screening of it in Australia. And he had some of the actors there, and he showed like his original print, and they had a Q&A. And it was a big deal for him. So I saw it for the first time this year, and it's a great movie. I've watched it multiple times.
Damn. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Very cool.
It's going to be a lot better than my list. Abigail, what do you got?
Your list?
My list.
Your hypothetical head list.
I've got a list.
Canon. All right. For me, I also had a Robert De Niro film at number 5. I put Goodfellas down, which is a film that a film. Am I calling them films now?
A picture.
That's a picture that I had not seen until
It's a moving picture.
until recently. And it kind of goes along with all my like mafia mob related watching with The Sopranos. It literally has almost the entire cast of The Sopranos in it. And it was a fantastic movie. Much better than The Irishman. Like it's definitely like
they all are
more cohesive and cogent.
Hey guys, I'm still on The Irishman. Okay, I'm almost finished with it,
dude.
You're still watching
I'm still watching it.
I'm still
It's been a year.
perturbed by
halfway
those
through.
weird eyes. So yeah, basically Goodfellas was awesome. It was one of those that people have recommended for a long time, and upon seeing it, I was like, all right, I get it. This makes sense. Like watching the, what am I, a clown? Like what my impressions, like, what are you laughing at me?
The Joe Pesci scene.
Joe Pesci
Yeah, it's
scene,
pretty
like
famous
seeing
scene.
that finally, I was like, okay, cool. This clicks. This is good. Number 4 is a movie that I saw at the beginning of this year for the first time, and it's Moana, which I talked about on the show. And that was just very influential. I love the soundtrack. I hate Lin-Manuel Miranda, so it's a catchy soundtrack.
I think that's everybody's opinion about that guy.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It just means a lot to me. I identify with Moana quite a bit. Number 3, I put The Witch, and that's a film. I have to stop saying film.
So it's a film, huh?
It's a film.
Is that also based on a true story?
It's not.
It's a film.
It feels like it's based on my childhood. We watched that movie. Oh, let's get real. We watched that movie at the beginning of quarantine, and I was like, this is awesome. I also had a little brother, or a big brother, not a little. Okay, I have to stop.
I also had a black goat.
Yeah, I knew Philip. No, The Witch was a great movie. It was very
Yeah,
scary.
that movie's cool.
It dealt with like a lot of cool like visuals and like just kind of biblical stuff, which I relate to and really enjoyed. I thought it was scary.
Here's another thing. If somebody says they didn't like The Witch or they didn't get it, don't trust them.
Yeah.
All right. The same with the cuss words.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's my speech.
All right, number 2, I put Suspiria, which I really enjoyed. And I saw that for the first time this fall. It was just a great, beautiful, scary movie that again deals with the devil and satanic stuff.
Did it also remind you of your childhood?
No,
Okay.
I didn't stick with ballet. I took like a couple lessons. But yeah, that was just it was a gorgeous, colorful movie that was like had me on the edge of my seat with the terror and the suspense. So I recommend everyone go out and see that. And number 1 was Willow. For me, it was just a really fantastic like puzzle piece fitting in movie. Once I saw it, I
that makes
should have
sense.
seen it a long time ago. And I've just been obsessed with Saoirse and Mad Mardigan since seeing it. And I got it on VHS and have watched it many times now. And I have some of the collectibles and toys that came out from the 80s. So yeah, that's that's it for my top 5.
Hey, when did
those are all good movies.
when did
Thank
we
you.
watch Midsommar? Was that this year or last year?
We did watch it this year, but that wasn't the first time we watched it. We watched it closer to.
No, I'm just asking you. It came out last year, but I don't think I watched it until this year.
I don't want to agree with you, but I'd have to look back in my Instagram stories. I feel like we saw
fuck it. It's putting it on my list because I bought the A24 limited book.
Oh, you're trying to
Blu-ray.
make your list right now as we're recording? You can have it.
Yeah, he didn't look at Craig's making all his lists as we.
That's not
talk
true.
ours.
You don't have
Yes,
a
it is.
notebook?
I don't. No, I'm putting Midsommar on my list because even though I've only watched it once or twice, I think about it a lot. Probably because I'm always on Florence Pugh's Instagram like a friggin' creeper. She's great.
Yeah.
And that movie's great.
cooking.
I'm gonna put Bill and Ted on my list only because like it wasn't perfect by any means. Could have been much worse. Could have been Dumb and Dumber 2. But upon my second viewing, it kind of got to me in a more nostalgic and emotional way. And I do believe that if they had a little bit more time for reshoots, that movie would have been even that much better. I think the second half of the movie is better than the first half. But it's a movie I looked forward to for a very, very long time. And no matter what, it was cool to see Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter back on screen. So I'll put it on my list.
Okay.
Give it to you.
You gonna give it to me?
Yeah.
You can have it.
And then the rest is just going to be the shit. The guys, I don't watch new movies. Like, do you want to hear me talk about Wayne's World 2? Because I've watched it 20 times during quarantine. I mean, seriously. Like, yeah, again, I've watched Return of the Jedi like every week for the last 50 weeks. Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
I need to expand my horizons.
Then we can move on to the next category.
Yeah.
We'll move on. I host a movie podcast. What movies you watch? Wayne's World 2. A lot.
And Seinfeld.
In Seinfeld. But let's talk about music, though. Let's talk about some music.
Cool.
Abigail, what's your Spotify looking like this year?
Oh, my Spotify? My top 5?
Before we go there, we do invite anybody listening to this, if you're part of Yes Have Some Group Therapy,
Post.
make your post. Let us know what movies, TV, and music got you through this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm always interested.
Yeah.
Give me some movie recommendations for the love of God.
Yeah,
Hey, I
please.
also liked. Here's the thing, Abby and I, we watch all the same stuff, so I liked Suspiria a lot. But I didn't want to copy your list.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right.
So yeah, I did write down, I got my like recap of my Spotify top 5, and for this past year, my top 5 genres, 5 was show tunes, 4 was classical performance, 3 is rock, 2 is pop, and number 1 is soundtrack, which makes perfect sense for me. I listen to a ton of soundtracks. My most streamed song was The Breaking of the Fellowship. Which is part of my like Lord of the Rings mix, which I have a playlist that I listen to almost nightly when I take a shower. I find it so very calming and medicinal to listen to that and kind of like chill out and meditate. So yeah, and it was a tough year, so I put it on quite a bit. Beyond that, things that I listened to that were albums that came out either this year or close to this year. Tyler, the Creator, his album Igor is incredible, and I listened to that a ton. That like cracked my top 5. Other shout outs go to Dua Lipa for her album Future Nostalgia, which came out of nowhere this year and was legitimately the best album of the year. It would have been for any other year even. Like, it's just solid. Every track is fucking danceable and killer. Ariana Grande for her album Positions, which she kind of dropped out of nowhere also and is super solid. And finally, Taylor Swift, my girl, for doing 2 albums without any like fanfare before, and that's kind of cool. Evermore, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but they're both really good.
Yeah, the new one just came out. Is it good? I haven't listened to the new.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Finally, Kenny G.
Oh yeah, Kenny G. Obviously, people be getting their Kenny G shirts after Christmas. Cool, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Jake, how about you, music wise?
I'll tell you what my top 5 songs were, and then I'll tell you what my top 5 artists were, because they're mainly similar, but there's a couple differences. So Spotify top 5 songs. Number 1 was a song called Figure It Out by Orla Gartland. Number 2, Did It to Myself, also by Orla Gartland. Number 3 was a song called Trying to Sleep by Wolfie's Just Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4, a song called Nobody, Not Even the Rain by La Dispute. And number 5 was Gloria from Vendetta Red. And then my top 5 artists, number 1 was Vendetta Red. Number 2 was Alanis Morissette. And then 3, 4, and 5 were Orla Gartland, Wolfie's Just Fine, and La Dispute. Those last 3 were new to me this year, so they got a lot of listens in. Those are 3 bands that I had not heard of until this year.
Cool.
Damn.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wolfie's Just Fine. They're the ones who did that Friday the 13th.
Yeah. So that dude, he used to be like pretty internet famous. Back when when YouTube first started going, he had a really silly song that was like a big thing. And that's what he used to do, was just put out silly bullshit. But he put out a video to a song called A New Beginning. And it's like a true story of him when he was, a kid watching A New Beginning for the first time, and like it being kind of like the beginning of his like sexual awakening, but also scared the shit out of him, because it's like the song is like about him being like, oh, look at this girl. She's cute. Oh, now she's dead. So
right.
And there's a music video for it, and I think it's one of the best music videos I've ever seen, because they like reenact a lot of scenes from A New Beginning, but like him as a child is like, he's like there watching it, and I just think it's just a really good song. It's all like very well done.
Yeah, I've seen the video. It's really cool. Like, it's very much like when the crossed wires happened, or like the trauma kind of thing. But it's like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of his songs are like these really, slow, melodic, kind of folksy sounding. He's got a really, really unique voice, and you wouldn't know it if you were just listening to the songs, casually. But like the song I put on here,
Sorry. My Spotify's going crazy. Keep
Cool.
going.
okay. But the song that was on my Craig,
what are you?
Hey,
turn your volume off.
I just turned it
Be the
off.
showrunner you can be.
All right, we're good. Keep going.
The song that I put on the list, Trying to Sleep, it's like written from the perspective of one of the graboids from Tremors. And that sounds really, really silly, but when you're listening to the song, it's not a silly song at all. And you would not like listen to the song and be like, oh, this is a silly song about a movie. But he's got a lot of songs like that. There's one called Todd and Janelle, and it's about the step parents from Terminator 2.
Oh.
And it's kind of sad, and there's another one about the pigeon lady from
Home Alone 2?
Home Alone 2, and it's also very sad, but yeah, he's great.
That's cool. That's very cool, because like writing about the things you care about, obviously he cares a lot about movies, and like that's the shit that comes out. That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, what's on yours?
Yeah.
So
Is it Floral Mass?
So for those of you who don't know, I am in a band, and I did listen to my own music a good amount this year, but a lot of that has to do with like being proud of a creative project.
Like people asking you if they can hear it.
Just in public, people like, "Hey man, are you in a band? Let's hear it." And no, I'm kind of weird about it. Like I'll show my friends and stuff, but I'm not one of those people who now if you're in group therapy, some people might go, I'm sick of fucking hearing about it. So yes, I am in a band. We are called Floral Mass, and it is available on Spotify. So I did listen to that first Taylor Swift album a lot. I listened to Haim's new album a lot this year. I thought it was great. They're one of my favorite bands. So check out Haim. Big Thief is another band I listen to a good amount. The War on Drugs I listen to a lot. And I tend to just put these artists on and kind of stream their stuff and don't really hone in on one specific song. But those are a little sampling. As far as classic stuff, I still go back to my old favorites a lot. So I did listen to Brand New a lot this year. They are one of my favorite bands of all time. And I know that they got canceled and their lead singer's not a great guy. But you know what? If I stopped listening to every musician who wasn't a great guy,
You probably knew he wasn't that great if you were listening to them.
exactly. So
All of his lyrics are super troubled.
Okay, let's not pretend like Mick Jagger and David Bowie were like not doing bad things.
Hey, I took Marilyn Manson off of any playlists. I had him on in 2020.
Well, he's legitimately a bad fucking person.
I decided that I can't listen to that.
Marilyn Manson.
Can you update me? What happened?
He
Besides the rib.
He was
Because I heard about that. Like
he was in a
20
really
years ago.
long relationship with what is her
Rose
name?
McGowan?
No. The girl from the woman that's in Westworld.
Yeah.
Dolores,
the actress. I can't. It's.
I can't remember her name. Anyway, she came out. There had been rumors about this for years and years. But she has come out and
Evan Rachel
Wood. Yeah, there was a hearing that she was at, and she gave this really, really long account of some stuff that happened to her. Now, she will not come out and say it was Marilyn Manson because she's scared. But it was Marilyn Manson who she's talking about. But he basically like groomed her when she was, underage and was, raping her and beating, just all this gross stuff. So
also like held her captive basically.
Yeah. He like scared her into staying and like just really, really awful shit.
Over the top bad shit.
That's really fucked up.
Yeah. And that's why I want to talk about it a little bit more. No,
I was like, should I make a Westworld joke?
I mean,
that's inappropriate.
I try to.
Fuck him.
I kind of try to lean into being able to separate artists from their art. And like there is that question, like, can I watch a Kevin Spacey movie and like feel okay about it? And like, I think a lot of it's just personal choice. If Kevin Spacey tried to make a comeback, I don't think, I'd be.
I watched American Beauty since all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Because, he's creepy in that already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is crazy.
Not much of a stretch. I feel like if it's morality, if it's an issue of morals versus politics, like that's the differentiator.
Well, right.
It's like Cara Dune. I can watch her shit and be like, whatever.
It depends on like what it's like, we all still like, there are days where we have like Michael Jackson on at work and I'm like, oh, I know like some people don't believe the Michael Jackson stuff, but I'm like, we're just going to pretend it's fine and we'll just listen to it anyway. But like the Marilyn Manson stuff was so awful reading and watching her talk about it that I was like, I can't listen to him anymore.
No, it's awful. It's and I fully support that. And I think a lot of people tried to defend Marilyn Manson for a long time. Like, but you know what? Sometimes people just are pieces of shit and they deserve to be talked about. Like they are. All right. And then as far as like older music, I still go back to and listen to some of my older favorite bands like Saves the Day, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. And other, similar to Vendetta Red. I mean, they had their heyday, 10, 15 years ago.
Saves the Day is great.
Saves the Day is great.
I respect.
My band opened up for Vendetta Red. A lot of people don't know that. And I saw Vendetta Red at a Best Buy live acoustic performance when their first album came out.
Wow.
That sounds cool.
It was
outside of the Best Buy?
No, it was inside the Best Buy. Oh, you know what? It wasn't at Best Buy. It was at a Guitar Center. It was at a Guitar Center. Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's just a guy who looked like the guy from Vendetta Red who worked at Best Buy. He had curly hair, and I bought it. Bought a CD. It's easy to. All right, well let's move along here. I think those are our main categories, but we do have a couple fill in the blanks, and then we'll wrap up this lively edition of Yes Have Some on a New Year's Eve. Or New Year's Eve, whenever we're recording this. All right, here we go. Fill in the blank. I would not have survived 2020 without Jacob Walsh.
I got two answers. I'll be really quick. My serious answer is J Key for getting us that Dr. Pepper job because I mean that might be funny, but like I didn't get a stimulus check,
right.
So like I lived off of Dr. Pepper money. For that. My other answer is YouTube because I feel like I've never really utilized YouTube correctly until
hold on. I thought you said U2 and I was like, that is so nice.
All of a sudden I just felt like
no, not the band. Like I thought you meant I thought you meant U2. Abigail and Craig. I wouldn't have gotten through that. So we've gone from YouTube to U2 okay, let's talk about YouTube. Yeah, YouTube rules.
YouTube. It's one of those things that's been out there forever, but I feel like something like a pandemic forces you to utilize it in a different way. And I just feel like I've never really gotten into it until this year. So.
Yeah. I mean, there is a serious amount of good content. I mean, I always have on like various like toy collectors channels or, people opening baseball cards, just shit pass the time while there's not new movies and things like that. Obviously, with no Ghostbusters this year, you got to do something.
Yeah, shout out to the content creators.
There you go. Abigail, you would not have survived without...
I got a couple. Without YHS, group therapy members, friends, Italianos, which is the Italian restaurant in College Park that delivers till 4 a.m.
Getting that tonight.
Yes. My cats and all the little cherry possums that live outside.
My
and
cat?
My cat? No. My cats. My cats are my anchor. They're my higher power. I love them. They help calm me down. And then eBay. I love eBay. We did eBay hangs this
I don't
year.
think any of us would have gotten through 2020 without eBay.
True.
eBay should win the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Congratulations,
You're
eBay.
right.
I would have not survived 2020 without some of the similar stuff Abby just said, without, you guys, the YHS community, the universe, Jacob, Abigail, Hal, AJ, Ryan, John Urqueba, and so on and so on. You all mean a lot to me, and being kind of part of this little creative cult following commune that we have is that's what it is. I'm not going to pull any punches. We're not the biggest podcast in the world. We're not the biggest YouTube channel in the world, but we have this group of people who we all kind of get each other, and it's fucking awesome. So I love it. It's special. So would have not gotten through it without that. And I think hope has gotten me through 2020. Rebellions are built on hope. No. The hope of things.
I thought you were going to do a poem.
No. I am a very, I would say, an
Hope
Abby.
is the thing with feathers.
There you go.
Emily Dickinson.
Abigail and Jake can both attest to. I think sometimes I'm annoyingly optimistic. I sometimes I really do feel like next year is going to be much better, and we're going to get the return. In 2 weeks we get WandaVision, so the MCU is back, and then we're going to get Black Widow at some point. And then we got Ghostbusters Afterlife and all the shit that we look forward to that we were denied this year. The thing that has gotten me through this year is that patience and hope and understanding and optimism of there's better times ahead.
The ice is finally starting to melt. We can see signs of spring and life.
I guess.
That's your poem?
Sure.
I don't care about spring. I like cold weather. But I'm just saying.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. June 11th. Be there.
Yes.
In your living room, probably.
Stop it.
No, I will be in a theater. Jake, we already talked about it. We will rent out a theater and have a private screening for ourselves if we have to.
If we have to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But actually circle your calendars, because we might if we can safely do it, I want to have some sort of event, assuming there's not going to be a premiere or anything. So, okay. Assuming that mass gatherings are a way off. Okay. I have missed blank the most over quarantine. Abby?
Conventions and going to movies. I mean, do I
easy.
have to elaborate? You guys probably said the same thing. I really miss the packing and figuring out my t-shirts, my outfits, and losing my luggage at the airport, going to gas stations and getting snacks, long drives, and hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing that hopefully next year at some point.
Jake?
My answer to the next two are the exact same answer. I have missed blank the most over quarantine, and in 2021, I am most looking forward to the exact thing Abby just said: seeing friends, going to the movies, and going to conventions. That's it.
I mean, we were denied San Diego Comic-Con, Dragon Con, Star Wars Celebration was canceled, and toy shows were canceled.
Tons of stuff. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I agree. There's nothing I'm looking more forward to. And also, I would like to, because I am in a band, and part of the reason I wanted to be in a band again was to play live music. I would like to be able to do that, or go see live music.
Yeah. I wanted to sell your t-shirts.
I was bummed out that our we filmed a lot of Dr. Pepper stuff that couldn't get used, and we kind of have to make up for that, and I'm excited to do that because that stuff was fun.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's still there's projects that we kind of had to abandon, and
we were legit halfway through filming. When
so
hit.
so just the hope that this year, this all kind of started in March, and we did the beginning of this year, we did go to Days of the Dead, and we did go to New York Toy Fair. And so this year really started off with a bang, and we kind of, boy, we've had to kind of like endure a lot of ups and downs. But hey, the biggest thing is we're getting through the year. We're healthy. We're still doing YHS. Life is good.
Yeah.
Star Wars rules. I'm getting a tattoo. in
Me
theory.
too. Maybe. No, I am.
Everything's going to be good.
Sure.
Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
As Jacob always says, it's fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
All right. I miss having panic attacks in the Olive Garden parking lot is what I'm saying. I look forward to being able to do that.
I
again.
miss Olive Garden.
All right, everybody. Well, listen, Happy New Year. Have a safe and happy evening. Have a safe and happy New Year's Day. And we look forward to coming back next week with more Yes Have Some podcasts. We thank you. We love you.
Yeah, stay tuned to @YHS Podcast on Instagram for the Jabba Glob drop at midnight.
You've probably missed it by this point if you're hearing this tomorrow. But
At this point, it happened already, so go look.
and Jake, I'll give you the final word on 2020. Jacob Walsh is giving his final thoughts on this year. Go.
Final thoughts on this year. It's been awful at times.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun at times. And fuck it.
There it is.
Just fuck it.
Fuck it.
Who
All
cares?
right.
Fuck it.
We'll
Don't.
see everybody next
We'll
week.
do 2021 live.
See you next year. What are you guys looking forward to more? People saying, whoa, it's, people used to be like, it's so weird writing 2021, but there's no reason to write a date anymore. So what I'm looking forward to is when people go, whoa, it's so weird not wearing a mask. Because get ready, there's going to be a lot of that at some point. You're going to be annoyed about it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.